He made me feel guilty for every dollar I spent, always saying we needed to save. Then one day, I found a drawer full of receipts for gifts I never received. Curious, I followed him after work and watched as he walked into a jewelry store with another woman. She tried on a ring, the same one I had wanted for years. That night, I waited up for him, smiling as he walked in. "How was work?" I asked sweetly. He relaxed, same as always. I pulled out a picture of him and her, holding hands. "Really?" I whispered. He turned pale, and I knew his lies were over. I never thought I'd be sharing my story here, but after everything that's happened, I feel like I need to get this off my chest. Maybe someone out there can relate or find some clarity through my experience. My name is Sarah, and I've been married to David for 12 years. We met in college at the University of Chicago, both studying economics. Our connection was instant, and we quickly became inseparable. After graduation, we moved to New York City, where David landed a job at a reputable financial firm, and I started working as a marketing analyst. From the outside, our life seemed perfect. We had a comfortable apartment in Manhattan, took annual vacations, and enjoyed the city's vibrant culture. But behind closed doors, things were different. David was always cautious with money, often reminding me of the importance of saving for our future. I appreciated his prudence, but it sometimes felt excessive. Every dollar I spent was scrutinized, and I began to feel guilty for even the smallest indulgences. For years, I accepted this dynamic, believing David's financial caution was for our mutual benefit. I cut back on personal expenses, skipped outings with friends, and focused on budgeting meticulously. Despite my efforts, David's demeanor remained unchanged. He continued to emphasize the need for frugality, often highlighting the volatility of the financial markets and the uncertainty of the future. One evening, while David was working late, I decided to organize our home office. As I sorted through drawers and files, I stumbled upon a folder tucked away at the back of his desk. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. Inside was a stack of receipts, high-end restaurants, luxury boutiques, and jewelry stores. The dates spanned the past 3 years. My heart pounded as I scanned through them, noting extravagant purchases I had no knowledge of. Confusion and disbelief consumed me. David had always been adamant about saving money, yet here were receipts for lavish expenditures. And the most painful part? I had never seen or received any of these items. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to follow David after work the next day. I left the office early, parked near his building, and waited. Around 6:30 p.m., I saw him exit not alone, but with a woman. She was elegant, dressed in a way that exuded sophistication. They walked side by side, their familiarity evident. I trailed them through the bustling streets of Manhattan, my mind racing with possibilities. After a few blocks, they entered a jewelry store, the same one from the receipts. I positioned myself outside, peering through the window. My stomach churned as I watched David and the woman interact with the sales associate. She tried on a ring, the exact design I had admired years ago, but dismissed due to its price. David looked at her with an affection that was all too familiar. That night, I waited up for him, my emotions oscillating between anger, sadness, and betrayal. When he finally walked in, I greeted him with a smile, masking the storm within. "How was work?" I asked sweetly. He relaxed, placing his briefcase down. "Same as always. Meetings, reports, the usual grind." I took a deep breath, my hands trembling. "Really?" I whispered, pulling out the photograph I had taken with my phone, him and the woman, holding hands outside the jewelry store. David's face drained of color. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. The weight of his deception hung heavily between us. "Who is she, David?" My voice quivered, a mix of hurt and anger. He sank into the nearest chair, burying his face in his hands. "Her name is Olivia," he murmured. "We've been seeing each other for a few months." Tears welled up in my eyes. A few months? And all those receipts? The gifts? The dinners? While you made me feel guilty for every dollar I spent. He looked up, pain evident in his eyes. "I never meant for it to go this far." I was. I don't know what I was thinking. Silence enveloped us. The man I had trusted, the partner I had built a life with, had been living a double life. Over the next few days, we had countless discussions, arguments filled with tears, accusations, and regrets. David admitted that his stringent control over our finances was, in part, a facade to hide his indiscretions. He had been siphoning money into a separate account, funding his lavish lifestyle with Olivia. I felt a whirlwind of emotions: betrayal, anger, sadness, and a deep sense of loss. The foundation of our marriage had crumbled, and I was left to sift through the debris. In the weeks that followed, I sought solace in friends and family. I started therapy to process the trauma and understand how to move forward. David expressed remorse, attending counseling sessions and attempting to make amends. But the trust was shattered, and I wasn't sure it could ever be rebuilt. One evening, as I walked through Central Park, reflecting on the past and contemplating the future, I realized that staying in a marriage devoid of trust would only prolong the pain. I deserved honesty, respect, and a partner who valued our union. I made the difficult decision to file for divorce. It wasn't easy, and the journey ahead was daunting. But I knew that healing required letting go of the past and embracing the unknown. To anyone reading this, know that you're not alone. Betrayal cuts deep, but with time, support, and self-care, wounds begin to heal. Trust your instincts, seek the truth, and remember your worth. Life after betrayal is challenging, but it's also an opportunity for growth, resilience, and rediscovering oneself. So after I confronted David, things didn't settle down. They got worse. A lot worse. The night I showed him the photo of him and Olivia holding hands outside that jewelry store, he looked like a ghost. He stammered, tried to make excuses at first. Said it wasn't what it looked like. That maybe I was overreacting. But the receipt trail, the body language, the ring she tried on, it all screamed the truth louder than his words ever could. I left him sitting there on the couch that night and locked myself in the bedroom. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the ceiling in the dark, thinking, how did I miss this? The next morning, I called out sick from work. David tried to act like things were normal. He even made coffee. Like that would fix anything. I didn't say a word to him. Just took my mug, sat at the window, and watched the traffic below. Around lunchtime, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. You don't know me, but I think you should. My name is Anna. At first, I thought maybe it was a scam, so I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, another message came through. I found your number through some old paperwork in David's desk. He's been lying to both of us. I think we should talk. I felt my stomach drop. Who the hell was Anna? I replied cautiously. I asked who she was and what she meant. She didn't say much over text, just that she had been involved with David too. That it wasn't just Olivia. So now we're up to 3. Me, the wife. Olivia, the one with the ring. And Anna, whoever she was. We agreed to meet that afternoon at a coffee shop in Soho. She said she didn't want to talk over the phone. I got there early, hands shaking the entire time. When Anna walked in, my mouth nearly fell open. She was young, early 20s maybe. Long dark hair, nervous eyes, holding a manila folder close to her chest like it was something sacred. She looked at me like she had seen a ghost. You're Sarah, she said softly, sitting down. I've seen your photo before. He had it on his desk. She handed me the folder without saying anything else. Inside were printouts, emails, screenshots, texts between her and David. Love letters. Photos of them on weekend getaways I never knew he took. Receipts for hotels in Montauk and Cape Cod, even one from Paris. Paris. He told me he had a finance conference last summer. The worst part? These weren't old. The most recent one was from 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know what to say. I think my body went numb. I didn't know he was married, she said. He told me he was divorced. He said you left him and took everything. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was that cold, bitter kind of laugh when you're so shocked you don't know how else to react. She looked crushed. I found the paperwork recently. Old documents. That's when I saw your name on tax returns, bank statements. I realized he lied about everything. That's when I told her about Olivia. And the ring. Anna looked stunned, like she'd been slapped across the face. He was going to propose to me, she whispered. He said he wanted to start over. That I was his fresh start. I sat there for a long time after she left. She offered to testify in a divorce, said she'd help however she could. I told her I wasn't sure what I was doing yet. But something had changed. I went home and confronted David again. This time, I didn't ask him questions. I laid the folder on the table and just stared at him. He didn't even try to deny it. He just said, "You weren't supposed to know." That one sentence broke me in a way the rest hadn't. You weren't supposed to know. So that was the plan all along. Just lie and juggle and pretend to be the responsible husband while living a completely different life on the side. I left that night. Stayed with my sister across town. Haven't been back to the apartment since. But the drama didn't end there. A week later, I got a call from David's office. A woman named Lorraine. HR. She asked me to come in and talk. Apparently David had listed me as his emergency contact and there had been an incident. Turns out, Olivia showed up at his office. She found out about Anna. Apparently, Anna had messaged her. They got into a screaming match in the lobby. David tried to break it up and ended up getting slapped by both of them on camera. Security escorted them all out. Lorraine was asking me if I wanted to file anything officially because it was turning into a mess and David's job was hanging by a thread. I told her I was no longer involved in his life. Let the pieces fall where they may. But even now, the calls keep coming. Messages too. From people I don't know. Co-workers of David's. Friends of Olivia. Someone from a spa in Brooklyn asking if I wanted to confirm a couple's massage booked under my name and David's for next week. He was still at it. Still trying to spin something. Maybe trying to reel Olivia back in, using my name now. Who knows? This man really lived a triple, maybe quadruple life. And somehow thought he could keep all the lies in check. Right now, I'm just collecting everything. Emails. Photos. Statements. I don't know how this ends, but I know one thing for sure: David has no idea what's coming. And I'm not done. After the blow-up at David's office, I thought things would start quieting down. I was wrong. 2 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't pick up the first time, but it rang again, and again. Finally, I answered. "Is this Sarah?" The voice asked. I said yes, bracing myself for more drama. "This is Detective Mason from the NYPD. I need to ask you a few questions regarding David Whitmore." My heart stopped. "What kind of questions?" I asked, suddenly ice cold. "There's an ongoing investigation. Nothing we can discuss over the phone. Are you available to come to the 19th precinct sometime this week?" I agreed to come the next day. All night, my mind raced. What could David possibly be involved in that would bring in the police? Drugs? Fraud? Something with his job? When I got to the station, the detective met me in a small, windowless room. He was polite but firm. He told me David was under investigation for embezzlement. Internal financial records from his firm didn't add up. Funds were missing, small amounts at first, over time, but together it added up to nearly $400,000. They had reason to believe David had funneled money through shell accounts, possibly using joint marital accounts, credit cards, and even offshore payments. They wanted to know if I had noticed anything strange. I felt sick. Not only had he lied about everything in our marriage, he had involved me, my name, my accounts, in criminal activity. And I had no clue. They showed me some of the transactions. I recognized some of the names. The boutiques. The restaurants. But now I was seeing wire transfers to places in the Cayman Islands and Belize. Hotel stays I never went on. A $15,000 consulting payment to a name I didn't know. When I got home that day, I called my bank. Started pulling every single statement I could get. Every line item. Every card in my name. I even called my accountant. I wasn't going to let David take me down with him. But here's where it got even worse. That night, I got another call. This time from Anna. "I think I'm being followed," she said, her voice shaking. She said a man had been parked outside her building all day. Black sedan. Tinted windows. She was too scared to go out. She thought it might be David, trying to scare her off. She said Olivia got strange calls too, someone breathing into the phone, then hanging up. I wasn't sure what to believe. Was David really capable of something like that? But by this point, I had stopped giving him the benefit of the doubt. The next morning, I contacted my lawyer. Told her everything. She advised me to freeze all joint accounts, report any suspicious activity, and to file an emergency petition to protect my personal assets. Meanwhile, David started texting me. Not long paragraphs. Just small, creepy messages like, "You're making this worse than it needs to be. We can fix this. If you'd just talk to me. You don't understand what's really going on." I didn't reply. That same day, I got an alert that someone had tried to access my iCloud account. Then someone tried to reset the password to my bank's mobile app. I knew it was him. So I went to the police and filed a report. I added it to the embezzlement case. Gave them everything, texts, emails, bank records, the works. Later that week, Anna called again, this time sobbing. "I just got a subpoena," she cried. "They're making me testify. About the money. About David." She said she was terrified, but she'd do it. For me. For herself. We started talking more after that. Weirdly enough, she became my closest ally. We compared notes, helped each other patch together timelines. She gave me a USB drive that had screenshots, receipts, and even voicemails David had left her over the past year. Some of it was shocking, him ranting about work, venting about hiding funds, and bragging about how nobody ever checks the secondary books. Then, plot twist, another woman reached out. Her name was Claire. She found me through Facebook. Said she'd seen my name mentioned on a Reddit thread that was now getting traction. Someone anonymously posted about a man in finance juggling 3 women and stealing from his company. The internet had started doing what it always does, digging. Claire said she had been involved with David too. 5 years ago. For a few months. She ended things when she found out he was married. She thought he'd moved on. But after reading the thread, she realized the patterns. The lies. The exact same phrases. He had used the same lines on all of us. "My wife left me. She took everything. I'm just trying to rebuild. You're the first person I've really trusted in years." Every single one of us had heard those words. Claire said he had borrowed money from her. Said it was for legal fees after the divorce. Never paid her back. Over $10,000. I added that to the file too. And still, David didn't stop. He tried to contact my sister, my coworkers. He sent my mother a bouquet of flowers with a note that said, "Don't let her destroy everything." I started carrying pepper spray. I changed my locks. Got a restraining order. Meanwhile, the NYPD case moved fast. His company had launched their own internal investigation. Rumor was he was placed on unpaid leave, pending charges. But he was slippery. Always had been. And he hadn't been arrested yet. Which means he's still out there. And every time my phone buzzes, I get this cold chill down my spine. I don't know what his endgame is. But I'm not backing down. More to come. It all came to a head on a Thursday. A rainy, miserable New York Thursday. David's company finally took action after more evidence came in. The police called me again, asked if I'd be willing to come in for one final statement. They said David had lawyered up. That meant things were getting real. I said yes. But I wasn't prepared for what would happen next. That evening, my lawyer called. Apparently, David had requested a meeting. In person. At the mediation center where we had originally started divorce discussions. "I don't think it's wise," she said. "But you have every right to show up." I don't know what possessed me to go. Maybe I needed to see him crumble. Maybe I needed to finally say everything I'd held back. Either way, I went. The room was cold. Fluorescent lights buzzing. David sat at the far end of the table, his lawyer beside him, some smug-looking guy with $1,000 watch, and the confidence of someone who always expects to win. I sat across from them. Calm. Ready. He looked like hell. Hair disheveled, eyes sunken, pale. Like the weight of everything had finally dropped on him. And maybe it had. He didn't speak right away. just stared at me. When he finally did speak, his voice cracked. "I never meant for it to get this bad," he said. I was trying to keep things together. I laughed. Not because it was funny, just because it was absurd. Keep things together? You were sleeping with 3 women, stealing money, lying to everyone. What part of that is holding things together? His lawyer tried to interject, but I shut him down. This is between me and him. David kept his eyes on me. I was drowning, Sarah. The job, the pressure, the marriage, it all felt like too much. And every time I saw someone else who admired me, who looked at me like I was worth something, I chased it. I didn't know how to stop. He wiped his face, but I couldn't tell if it was sweat or tears. I used to blame you, he added quietly. When things got boring, when money got tight. I told myself you were holding me back. But I was the problem. It was always me. For a moment, the room went silent. Even his lawyer looked uncomfortable. Then I spoke. You know what hurts the most, David? It's not the cheating. It's not even the money. It's that you made me feel small for years. Every time I bought a coffee or a pair of shoes, you made me feel like I was irresponsible. Like I was the one putting our future at risk. I felt my voice rising, emotions crashing through me like waves. And all that time, you were blowing thousands on hotel rooms, jewelry, wine, trips on people who didn't even know your real name. You made me believe I was the weak link, while you were the one setting fire to everything. He looked away. Do you have any idea how that messes with someone's head? I stood up. I was done. The mediator tried to calm the room, suggesting we take a break. But it was too late. David's lawyer said something about settlement agreements, asset division, minimizing damage. I didn't care anymore. I want nothing from him, I said. Just my name cleared. My peace back. And I want every woman he lied to, used, or manipulated to know exactly who he is. Then I walked out. Later that night, I got a call from Anna. She had seen something. Olivia had posted on Instagram a photo of a letter David wrote her. A final apology. Saying he was leaving the city to start over. No one knew what that meant. Some said he was headed to Florida. Others said Canada. 2 weeks after that meeting, he resigned from his job. Disappeared. The charges? Still pending. But his lawyers were negotiating a deal. Of course they were. People like him always try to slither out. The aftermath? Anna started therapy. She says she's slowly getting better. Olivia? She's silent now. Removed all her posts. Probably ashamed. Or healing. I don't know. As for me, I moved out of Manhattan. Rented a small place in Beacon, near the Hudson River. It's quiet here. Peaceful. I started journaling again. Bought a bike. I even got a dog, something David always said was too expensive to maintain. Funny how that works. My sister calls often. My mom too. They both say the same thing, you seem lighter. I guess I am. I don't trust easily anymore. I watch people closely. But I'm learning that caution doesn't mean fear. It means I've been through hell and know how to recognize the flames when they start. Sometimes I miss what I thought we had. But when I look at it honestly, that we never existed. It was just me, holding everything together, while he played dress up as a good husband. I don't hate him. Not anymore. But I hope he never forgets what he did. And I hope every lie he told haunts him at night the way the truth haunted me. I'm not sure what the future holds. But I know who I am now. And I'm not someone who can be fooled twice.